let's start off right away here in my own yard, which is 2 acres, and we have no power tools other than a small electric weed whacker that we use, I think, a couple of times a year. I'm a little afraid that instead of creating enthusiasm for my yard, I might actually be putting off some people because it's quite a mess at the moment. So last year we still had, I would say, about half an acre of lawn left, and we stopped mowing that all together. And one of the reasons it looked messy is that I'm taking it very slow. I'm very curious about what pops up naturally. So I'm very happy if you come on the tour and you visit my garden to show you all the interesting stuff that is happening with me doing absolutely nothing. On the other hand, I'm trying to add plugs to it as well, things that I think are interesting for pollinators and wildlife and are beneficial, and see how they do here. It's quite challenging because it's a slope, it's steep, it's dry, and it's invaded by the deer. But I'm actually very happy with the amount of biodiversity that we're already attracting. This is the house where Sarah Stein lived, and she is renowned for her garden books, one of them called Noah's Garden. And it's one of the highlights of our tour because it's a all native garden. It's fenced in, so it has a really nice collection of plants that live here originally, and this is how our landscape must have looked like before the deer came in. So I just arrived at Joe Simonetti's garden, which is, well, how can we describe it, Joe?
It's a little wild. It was little by little. It was never master plan. The plan keeps changing. I keep moving stuff around, pulling stuff out.
He has plenty growing in the area that is visited by the deer. And now we're entering his fenced-in area.
Well, I planted this all myself. This is probably, I should go look at my notes, but all the garden is probably from 5,000 plugs.
I arrived at the Armstrong Preserve, which is part of the Pound Ridge Land Conservancy. And around it are several gardens. I think a vegetable garden, there's an enclosed area, and there are pollinator gardens also outside the fences. So very interesting property. And what I also noticed is several solar panels on the side of the property. So the house is off the grid. So this is a very good example of a well, all-round sustainable garden. The caretaker will be here during the tour answering all your questions. I'm at Bylane Farm, which is the headquarters of Bedford Audubon, with a lovely garden that's maintained by the wonderful Liz Stein. The garden is actually always open and free to visit, dusk to dawn, and it is visited not just by humans but specifically also by the birds. I'm now on my way to Katona to visit Helen Kolp. I know that just this last spring she had installed into her lawn a little meadow. Here it is. This is just after one season. I am here at the Leston Park, a very monumental garden, very classic in design. And since Jessica Schuler is managing this park, she's been adding a lot of native plants to its design. And here, for example, we have a terrific hedge of partridge pea. I would never have thought of making a hedge out of that, but it totally works. So if you're here on the tour, there will be somebody available explaining just how they insert all these native plants in their more classic gardens. So here I am in Paddys Garden, which looks like there is a great number of bees and other activity going around here.
This is an area adjacent to the pond. You might not be able to see it, but it's right on the other side. And I'm really excited because I grew a lot of these plants from seed this year. The bone stick, and I have some sneeze weed and ironweed and some other Joe Pye weed back there.
So this is all possible with the deer coming by. I have arrived at Missy's house and I see somebody home. So now we have proof right away that everything that flowers here so nicely has not been eaten by this beauty. Missy will be home during the tour, and she is a native plant designer. She plants gardens designed with native plants. Her own property is very small, but she will be also available at the Bennett estate in Mount Kisco, which is a much bigger estate and shows also the beauty of native plants. And she will be there answering your questions about how to design with native plants. I have arrived at Pacifica Park in West Harrison, and in this park there is a little rebel area. Rebels are beautiful. We agree. So this is the work of Christina Luca, a chemistry teacher who is active in this area and has set up several pollinator gardens. And ask her where her other rebel gardens are as well. And she needs help to maintain these gardens. So ask her if you can help and when and where. Thank you. So I'm sitting in my car. I just visited Mary and I'm totally overwhelmed. All of a sudden I think I have a very small little crappy garden and she is absolutely paradise. What do you think, Mickey? Did you like it too? So, but in fact, it is great that we have these really extensive, filled and beautiful gardens and smaller ones as well, because we want to show that, you know, whatever you have, you can make something beautiful out of it. Hi, I just arrived at Murray Speech's house. He is a Healthy Yards member, and when he bought his house, there was already a lovely design of Leslie Needham installed. One of the things that Murray was very upset with when he came here is actually the noise that the upkeep of these larger estates with these big lawns take. In an effort to limit his own lawn, he is building a beautiful meadow. He started that last year and it's already a great, beautiful area. So check it out to see how you can actually combine a more conventional landscaping with a more wild one. It's totally doable and it is awesome. This house wasn't too difficult to find because it sort of shouts out wildlife come here, not just by plants but also with the signs. So I'm still in my car and I arrived at the Critter Cafe, and this cottage is awesome. It is completely covered with sunflowers. I arrived in Ossining at a place the owner calls herself her jungle cottage. So I'm very curious to have a look inside this jungle. I'm at Julie Suttons' house in Pleasantville. It looks really lovely. She has a lot of different things planted, and I would love to talk to her about all the different plant species that I see here. A lot of woodland materials as well. So she will be here and she can explain it. This is New Rochelle, Lincoln Park, and on the side of the park there is this wonderful community garden, grow ! And people can have their own little plot here and grow vegetables. They also have a beautiful pollinator garden, which is not fenced in but open to the public from dusk to dawn, and it has great signage to tell you what is what, but there will be somebody available during the tour to answer your questions about the plants as well. I am in J. Arthur's garden. J. Arthur is a landscaper, and he has been maintaining and designing a lot of more sustainable gardens in Westchester, but his own garden is something to see. It goes on and on with these beautiful pathways. It has all these awesome native plants in it, and I don't have the time to walk all these paths, but I hope you do. In Mount Kisco, and finally we have a garden that is well maintained in a way that is not unruly, wild and jungle. It's not that we don't like these wild gardens, but we really like to offer people an example of, well, very healthy grass without the use of toxins. And as a bonus, of course, there's this lovely flower garden as well. I'm curious how she got this grass so healthy and beautiful. I'm gonna ask her on the garden tour. And I haven't seen all the gardens yet. So it's obvious that when Sunday comes, nobody will be able to tour all the gardens. So how should you go about this? I would suggest maybe you can look around and see what gardens there are in your neighborhood. And maybe you are looking for ideas for your own garden. In that case, why don't you send us an email at info@healthyarts.org and let us know what you're looking for, so maybe we can help you with choosing some gardens. And another possibility is that you just go and enjoy yourself and let yourself be stunned by some gardens, because we have a few absolutely gorgeous gardens on the tour. I would, in that case, I would suggest this multiple habitat in greenwich, which is rather like a botanical garden, and it's stunning. And this might be your only opportunity to actually see it because it's a residential garden. If you are just looking for simple examples of how you can manage your own garden, we have plenty of gardens that have a more modest size or are maintained in a much easier way. And those can be interesting for you too. So just let us know what you look for, and we really like to help you with that. Enjoy the tour.